Hello all and welcome to our brand new daily show, The Big Story, where we bring you the hottest topics of the day right here from the heart of the newsroom. My name is Alyssa Wu and I'm from the Straits Times. We are streaming live right now on Facebook and YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, do click that bell icon to be notified whenever we go live. I'll be joined very shortly by my newsroom colleagues to talk about the topics that got you talking today. Last weekend, national hockey player Siti Nur Rahaina Walid was seriously injured during a league match where she suffered a stroke after a collision with another player. It was reported by the newspaper that no medical personnel was on standby, and it was at least an hour before an ambulance was called. After the event, the Singapore Hockey Federation said it would deploy ambulances for the remaining matches over the next 2 weekends. But is it too little, too late? I have here with me Nicole. She's our sports journalist. So Nicole, what do you think of the Hockey Federation's response?
Well, I think it is a bit too late considering the fact that it took an incident like this happening and getting out into the news for them to take action. But I mean, if you look at it the other way, at least they are doing something, and it's not like they're just insisting that they're correct. It shows that they admitted that something needs to be done and they are doing it.
And I understand that investigations are still ongoing as to also why it was an hour before the ambulance was called, right? Like between her collision and...
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so the story is developing, so do just keep up for the news on straitstimes.com. Now, according to the Sports Safety Committee report, hockey is classified as having a high collision risk and moderate cardiovascular risk. So why then was there no medical care on site during the matches?
So for this classification, the report recommends having first aid trained officials and paramedics on standby at events. But Singapore Hockey Federation President Mathavan Devadas said that before the league started, they had a meeting with club officials and they'd agreed that all medical related matters would be handled by the club. But obviously there was a lapse there, and he's still investigating the cause of the delay, and that's what the association is still trying to find out, why the delay.
Understand. So what are the current safety regulations by Sport Singapore that the sport clubs and the associations here have to follow?
So Sport SG, which is the national agency for sport here, advocates a preventive approach when it comes to managing risks in sport. So according to that report, they classify different sports according to different levels of risk, and they make recommendations based on those. So in addition to that, they also make recommendations according to like manpower and training, resource management, and medical equipment. So those are some of the recommendations they do.
Do you think they should enforce it more clearly, more strongly, and have more maybe clarity in how these are enforced?
Well, it seems like these are more recommendations than guidelines. So there's, of course, the question of who enforces them, how closely these recommendations are followed. So maybe that's one area they can consider looking into to make sure that incidents like this don't happen again.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for coming on today to talk about it. And now on to our next segment. Eating durian may not necessarily be an art, but it certainly is an experience. It's similar to eating cheese or maybe even drinking wine. If you disagree, you can let me know in the comments. One begins to develop a taste for the bitter and pungent fruit eventually, and they also seek out the best of the best, and it may not necessarily be Mao Shan Wang, which is said to be the king of them all. Now, to recommend other durian types, I have here with me our ST Online food editor, Heidi, who will share some highlights of the current durian season and also how to make the most of it.
Yes.
Right? So we had this conversation yesterday. Actually, you did not start out as a big durian lover.
No, I'm sorry to say this, but I don't even like eating durians. But I do enjoy, but what I discovered from doing this story is that it's not that I don't like eating durians. I just don't like eating bad durians. If the durian is very good, I'm a fan.
So what other types of durian would you recommend to others to try other than the Mao Shan Wang?
Okay, I discovered like quite a number of varieties, or what they call cultivars, durian jargon during this, in doing this story, and I tasted the S17. That really caught my attention because it's very bitter, and it's known to be extremely bitter. They call it bitter to the max. That's the term that they use, and I think it's a very interesting durian to go for if you really like bitter tasting durians, because it's only at $12 a kg compared to Mao Shan Wang, which is about $17 a kg at the moment. Yeah, but the prices fluctuate all the time.
There is another one you said, which is like the anti-killer.
Yes, The lady killer of
lady
durians,
killer.
yeah, according to Mr. Colin Chi, who is the founder of Spikes of Love, which organizes durian appreciation events. It's called the Golden Phoenix or Jing Feng. And it can be a small compact durian, about 1 kg, but it can render up to like 20 seeds at a time. And these seeds are small and they're also bitter tasting. And apparently women, or at least his mom, his aunt and his sister, they like to watch their K-dramas and snack on this durian as they're watching their K-dramas. Yeah.
So what is the taste profile like? Is it bitter?
It's bitter, and it's the seeds are small, and the flesh, it's very tasty, it's very bitter, and it has more complexity than your so-called beginner durians, like the D101, literally a 101 to durians, are more sweet. Those are more sweet, the sweeter varieties. Yeah, but I think there's, as they say, there's no shame in liking sweet, sweet flavored durians. It really depends on what you like as an individual. Yeah.
So no judgment here. Now
okay,
durians.
yeah.
Now durians aren't cheap, and shopping for durians, as we know, is always a risk, right? Whether you get the amount of seeds you want, whether it's the one that you're looking for.
Correct.
So what tips do you have for viewers when they go durian shopping?
Well, what I learned from the experts is that, first of all, I think you've got to go to someone that you trust. And I think every durian lover, or at least the one I spoke to, would have like some experiences of unethical behavior and all that. So it's good if someone can recommend you where to go and you go there, and if you have a good experience there, then you build a relationship with the durian seller. It's based on trust. So when they recommend you a durian, a certain cultivar or a new cultivar, you're more open to trying. And if you find that it suits you, I guess it's experience. It's really an experience. It's not just about eating the durians, but also about building relationships with people who know it, so that even if you're not an expert, you can go in and you can have a good experience. So one of the things is, when you get to the shop, even if you're not familiar with what are the types of durians, I think you should be able to know what you yourself like. Whether you like it sweet, you like a bitter durian, or you like it bittersweet, you tell that to the durian seller so that they are able to better find a durian that can match the taste profile that you prefer. And also things like, in terms of texture, you like it runny, you like it creamy. Yeah, but runny doesn't mean it's bad durian, because for some bitter tasting breeds, they are a little bit runny, but when they are runny, it seems that they are a little bit more bitter tasting. So good if you like the bitter kind of durian. Yeah.
Now there is also durian etiquette when it comes to buying durian.
Yeah.
Right. So you were sharing, for example, don't prod the durian.
Yeah.
It's not fish at the market.
Yes, correct. I mean, if they're going to open up the durian and you have no intention to, or if it's displayed, if you have no intention to buy it, don't go around poking it. I disapprove of such behavior, even if you're buying fish. So more so for durians, because if you're not buying it, someone has to come along and buy it, right? And the thing is that if you know what you want, and if the seller gives you what you want, then there's less of a problem there in terms of having some misunderstanding or ensuing argument. And if you go in and you don't indicate whether you want it sweet or you want it bitter, then it's basically the seller has to play a guessing game with you, and it's not fair if you reject it just because it's bitter and it's not sweet as you like it. So if the durian is bland or unripe, or it's worm infested, then in these cases it's very clear cut that you can reject the durian, let the durian seller know, and they can change it for you.
And the last tip you will have is, don't haggle.
Not so much about not haggling, but basically nowadays you walk into the durian stalls, or at least the established ones, they have a board there where they indicate the prices. So what you really want to do is to be not be shy. Ask what's the weight of the durian, so that you don't have any, confusion about the pricing or any misunderstanding. So, it doesn't end off with a bitter taste, not in the sense of the durian, but like, arguing over price and like leaving with this, not the nice kind of durian bitter aftertaste, but from feeling like you got fleeced.
Got it. Thank you so much, Heidi, for sharing those
you.
tips. They were really helpful and practical. Do look out for the big durian package that she's doing. It will be out this Sunday in the Sunday Times. And those were our top stories for today. Once again, my name is Alyssa. Join us again on Monday for more big stories.